Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Kim and today I'm going to show you how to make one of these little woven CDs hangings. So if you've picked up one of the kits from your library, you will have all the supplies that you need, but if you didn't, the supplies that you'll need will be in the description below. And what it is an old CD or DVD, some yarn in different colors, and a plastic needle. Now, if you've gotten the kit from the library, you're going to notice that it's a DVD, right? It's one of our DVDs that's gotten withdrawn from the collection. If you look at the back, you might see that it's really scratched. There's something really wrong with it. If it doesn't look so bad, it might be one that's part of a set, and the other pieces in the set were kind of destroyed. So that's where your DVDs come from. They are these recycled projects. And to make this craft, and you're also going to receive a little piece of yarn to hang your work and your plastic needle. So to make this project, we should first know that you're going to weave, so the face is the shiny part of your DVD or your CD. So you've got this nice shiny element to your project at the end. And then you're going to take your yarn, your first yarn. And if you've gotten the kit from the library, you'll notice the one at the top is called Step 1 yarn. That's the yarn you're going to want. And to get it off your card, you can find the back of the loop, just like this, and pull that a little bit, pull the other yarn out of it, just like that. So it'll come out really easily. And then you've got your first piece of yarn. It's the first piece because it's longer than the others. And you need a long piece to first make that warp around your project. So we're going to put our tail through the hole of that DVD. And then we're going to wrap it like so. Wrap our big piece around. And I'm going to knot my tail to that piece I just wrapped around. Got it here. I'm going to make sure that I knot it pretty nicely. Okay, so I've knotted my piece on there. And now I'm just going to take my yarn and wrap it around the DVD until I can do this no more. And you should have enough, I think, for 11 wraps or 11 warps around your DVD. If you feel like you don't have enough for 11, or you're like, I don't really want 11, I want 9, that's okay. You can kind of change that number a little bit, but the number that you choose at the end, it needs to be odd. And if it's not odd, the weaving part's just not going to work. So make sure you're using an odd number. And you'll just wrap this around until you have that odd number that you want to work with. And I'm kind of spacing them a little bit as I go. If it's not perfect right now, that's okay. You can kind of move them around in just a moment. I'm getting really near the end of mine, so I want to go ahead and count how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I have a little bit left. Can I get 11? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, perfect. So I've got my piece. I've got 11 on the face of my DVD. Now I'm going to knot it in the back. So I'm just going to go under one of the pieces in the back here, and then I'm going to just make a little knot. There we go. It's kind of wrapped a good little knot there. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck the tail under these other pieces so that it doesn't get in my way. And now I'm going to separate these a bit so that they're just nice and divided. Yeah, so I've got a nice little, pretty much evenly divided, odd number of spokes around my DVD. And I think I got 11 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Whew. All right, it's worth double counting or triple counting that because you really do need the odd number to succeed on this. All right, so once I've got that set up, I'm ready to choose my next color yarn. You can go in any order with these yarns. I'm going to go ahead and use the light blue next. So I'm going to pull that piece out, and then I'm going to put my yarn on my plastic needle. So I'm going to thread my plastic needle, give myself a little bit of like a 2-inch tail, and now I'm not going to put a knot in this yet because I want to put a knot on the DVD itself. So I've got my needle, and I'm going to pull the, so I've got my shiny part facing myself. I'm going to pull my needle underneath the first piece of yarn I want to work with, and I'm going to make a little knot right at the end with that tail. Right at the end there. So I've got a little tiny knot in that work. And don't worry about the tail right now. We're going to kind of tuck that along as we go. But now that it's attached, I'm ready to start weaving. And then what I'm going to do is go over and under with my thread. And then you can kind of do this like 2 or 3 at a time, just because these plastic needles are so big. But you always want to make sure you go in that same order, over and under, over and under, over and under, over and under, and always in the same direction on your DVD. So it doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, you just need to make sure you're doing the same way every single time that you're doing the stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one around quickly so I can show you how to attach the next color. Over, under, over, under. All right. I'm almost done here. The first color, I think, does take the longest amount of time because it is where the right around that center, right, is where there's the least amount of space between them. So you're actually having to go over and under more with this color than you will with the later colors. So we're doing that piece. All right, now I've woven it quite a bit. I've got a little bit of a tail here. This is maybe 2 inches. And that's where I'm going to stop my weaving because I need to add the next color. So I'm just leaving that up. I've pulled my needle off, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the next color. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this this red one that's nice and thick. It's going to add a nice little bit of variety on this project. So I've got my piece, my red piece here. I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. It's a little bit harder sometimes to thread these more novelty type yarns, but they work just as well. And I've got my needle threaded. Now I'm going to knot that red piece to that first piece, the new piece to the old piece of yarn. I'm just going to knot that around. So whenever I do these projects, I do like to try to mix up the types of yarn that I do this with, right? So I want to use some thick yarn, I want to use some thinner yarn, I want to use some fun yarn, just because it adds a really nice visual difference when you have that end piece. So anything that you would like to, any different types of yarn that you have is okay. They don't all have to be the same type or anything like that. They all just add different visual interest. So I've got this wrapped around. And I'm doing the same exact thing, right? The over, under, over, under. Oops, there we go. Oops, there's that little tail there, okay. And yeah, over, under. Okay. Now for this one, I'm gonna stop here in the demo just to show you how you would finish this work if you were, let's imagine you put all the yarn on that you want and you want to finish. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've got my piece, I've got my little tail, and I'm done. I don't want to add any more yarn. I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful. I want to stop here. What you'll do is take your tail and bring it over the piece you just came under from. So you always want to go under is the last stitch you do. So you're going to take your tail and put it back around the one you just went over with, and you're going to pull it back up through itself to make a knot on that thread that it stopped on. So you're going to make a little knot there. And now you've got this little tail, but your work is finished off. It's knotted off. And what you'll do with that tail is you'll just tuck it underneath your weaving. So you're going to tuck it all the way underneath there so that it's kind of hidden. if you feel like your tail is just like way too long to hide, you want to trim a little bit off and then hide it, go ahead and do that. But you don't want to trim it too close down or you're not going to be able to tuck it in very well. But anyway, that's how you would stop this work. And if you were later looking at this and you're like, you know, I really do want to continue that, go back and pull your tail out. I might have just lost it. Oh, there it is. Go back and pull your tail out and tie a piece on there and go back around. Okay, so even if you decided that's the end, you can pull the tail back out and go somewhere if you like. And you can see like on my examples, I've only gone to here. I've just kind of stopped halfway in. That's as much yarn as I've kind of included in this kit. But I have seen that some of these where people have put yarn all the way to the outside, and that also looks cool. So if you have some extra yarn at home and you want to do that, feel free to experiment. They look really neat. I think if they have a lot or a little, they're all kind of nice. Once you're done and you're ready, you're totally done, you're happy with it, and you want to hang it up, take that last little piece of yarn that was included in your kit, or if you don't have the kit, like maybe a piece of yarn that's maybe 6 inches long or so, and you're going to take it and push it underneath one of the spokes of your CD or DVD, and you're going to just knot it right at the top. If you think this is too long, if you think your piece is too long, you can knot it closer down here and then trim your tails off, however you like, however you think is going to look best. So you'll just knot that piece. If you have a lot of them, you could even tie them together and make a longer hanging or make a hanging that goes out this way. So a lot of different kind of options there, and a great way to recycle some old DVDs or CDs or CD-ROMs that are just not usable anymore. All right, so that is how you do a CD weaving. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you do make something cool, give us a show it, let us know about it, right? Tell us on our social media or comments or something like that. All right, thank you so much and have a great day.